Nation.
SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first. Then you act.
Welcome back, Spartan Nation. We now bring in Spartan Nation senior writer, the great Johnny Shop, for his weekly visit on the state of Michigan State athletics. John, before we get going, you have a series coming up starting 1 week from today. It's going to be a 5-day series on a really special Michigan State football team. Remind everyone about your series coming.
Yeah, what we're going to be doing, got to get back and take a look. Party like it's 1999. The 1999 Michigan State Spartans football team, special team, first team really trying to institute the process as we know it now in the world of college football. Dr. Rosen and Nick Saban put together, of course, before the Ohio State game in 98, carries over to 99. 99 team, weren't really sure what to expect from them. 98 team is so talented and underachieving. Cedric Irvin goes to the NFL. This big, tall wide receivers coming in, but who knows? Spring game went very poorly for that team. Robert Smith, I think, broke his leg. Other people got injured. Saban was going crazy. And 99 gets going in a special way at the start of the year. First game, Amp Campbell taking the ball back all the way. I mean, 90-some yards against Oregon. Kind of flips the season on its head on the first day, which was a Thursday night. And off to the races, Michigan State goes, has great success, has some struggles, finishes up with success. Saban leaves, the staff stays. End up being a 7th-ranked team, second in the Big Ten. Had there been a college football playoff at that time, they would have absolutely been, I think, considered and probably would have been in it because the Big Ten was, without a doubt, the king at that time. And this team has a 20-year anniversary coming up. Whether they like it or not, Hondo, this is 20 years. Coming 99. So we're going to party like it's 1999. Take a look back at that team featuring Ronaldo Hill, Plaxico Burris, TJ Duckett, and many more wild stories. A wild year that ended up on a high note with the edge, Paul Ettinger, kicking a three-pointer at the Citrus Bowl to beat Florida and carried Bobby Williams off, without a doubt, the top part of his really professional coaching career. 1999. We're going to take a good look back.
Because tonight we're going to party like it's 1999, right?
That is it. We're going to party like it's 1999.
5-day series beginning June 17th, Monday through Friday. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. John, I want to get into Michigan State athletics in a deep way with you. Get into some stuff. First of all, let's talk about alcohol being sold in the stadium. They have ruined the game day experience to me. They've closed off so many lots. They've, all of a sudden now people, it's almost impossible to get in there. I know people now who've given up their season tickets. I know a lot of people have given up their season tickets, but even before the programs, 2 of the last 3 years, and simply get in their RV and go to every away game. What would you think? This is a growing trend. They already sell it up in the skybox, up in the tower, up in the new press tower. I don't have a problem with them selling alcohol indoors. I know that Mark Hollis never wanted to do it because he just thought it was so many problems. But they've got to do something. The fan experience at Spartan Stadium is not good. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the state of Michigan is behind here. My first thought is that Michigan State and Michigan are probably going to walk hand in hand. Whether they're bound by legislature or whether they're bound by logical choice. But look, this is a great opportunity for universities to educate. It's also a great opportunity to produce revenue. Look at the revenue Ohio State has produced. Look at the revenue Purdue has produced. Look at the revenue other places have produced. I believe Purdue being one of them. This is a great opportunity to educate. It's also a great opportunity to price. When you go to Canada, for example, it's very clear when you walk in a store as a normal person that when it comes to alcohol, they want you to buy like one drink and that's it. If I remember my brief time in Canada, they had like pints, which is bigger than like a can of beer, for example, and they're priced in a position and they're taxed in a position that it's not something that you're really going to want to buy a whole bunch of unless you want to burn a hole in your wallet. So I see an actual opportunity to educate that the Big Ten schools, because that's what we're concerned most about, they're missing. They ought to be able to educate people on how to consume and enjoy alcohol responsibly, how to do it so it doesn't affect the rest of their day, their drive home, their walk out of the stadium. And I think that they're missing an opportunity to do that. And they're also, it's not that they're dividing the fan base because it's such a small fan base that's inside of where it's served, but it's suggesting that there's more of a class system in watching these games than there should be. Michigan State's got to get it. People are not coming to the game. It's harder and harder to get to a game. It's gotten harder and harder to get many places, gotten harder and harder to get to a game. So you've got to give people more reasons, probably less restrictions and less regulations to enjoy it. It's good that they've updated the cell phone service stuff in there. That's great. Wi-Fi one day I'm sure will come around when it makes price sense and that kind of stuff. That's also great. Michigan State football has got to realize it's got to sell an entertainment product first, and it's in a tougher market than a lot of places. Lansing is not a major city; it doesn't have a huge population base. That's not going to happen. The population base to attend Michigan State football games it's not going to be doubling or be greatly increasing. So they ought to do more to cultivate what they have there. They ought to do more to consider if they're not going to sell alcohol in those areas. They ought to consider looking at if there's any skyboxes that are empty, let's say inside of the 20-yard lines, for example, converting those into basically bars where people pay a cover charge and they can enjoy and consume in there responsibly, and then they can either leave and go back to their seats, or they can leave and go home. It's something we've seen in Georgia. In the new Georgia Dome, they have like an 80-yard bar in there that people can go into, where the Falcons play, where the national title game was, where the Final Four will be next year, where we're expecting to see Michigan State basketball. So the opportunity is there, if you don't want to sell it in all the seats, to at least start selling it and creating revenue in boxes that are not being used. That's something I thought we would have seen a handful of years ago, but I don't know. Maybe those boxes are all sold at Spartan Stadium this year.
John, let's talk about the Spartan Fund right now is really struggling. We keep hearing this from internally, from people in the administration, people in the athletic administration. I certainly think it's fair to blame some of them for some of that on the Larry Nassar situation, but
sure,
it's not fair to blame it all on them because it's struggling. People are very skeptical about football. Now, I think you said last week you predicted 10 wins. I think this is going to be a very big year. But does Michigan State suffer from immediacy lenses in their glasses, and do they need to start looking down the road more?
Everybody does. Recency bias is a bias towards what happened recently. Well, what have you done for me lately? And believe it or not, 2013 seems like a while ago. 2015 almost seems like a while ago, because the football team has struggled so much to move the ball, run the ball, and because, look, when you say your identity is one thing, but the facts and statistics, and to requote our man Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. When that says something different, people see through that after a short period of time, especially adults. It's not knocking the kids, but we're not talking about the kids that are in school or playing on the team. We're talking about the adults that are donoring. So it is certainly logical to pause and consider, what am I donating to? When you have something as unbelievable as the horrific crime spree that Larry Nassar went on, most of that has seemed to subside. Obviously, he's been put away, and Michigan State University has not been tattooed or exposed as having done a whole lot of things wrong at this point. I mean, goodness, for a lot of folks, when you see a police department apologize, as we saw in that situation, that gets your attention. And when you see 4, at least, police departments, having unfortunately missed or been deceived by this stuff, it starts to maybe relax people's minds that Michigan State University was doing something on the lines, let alone the athletic department, of trying to cover anything up. But to take pause on something like that makes total sense. When you compound that with the issues that the football has kind of looked like it caused themselves, it's understandable that there is a dry season that's going on right now. But unfortunately, because we're dealing with such a great arms race, even with the $54 million that the Michigan State athletics collected from basically the Big Ten network, as you've explained, they're still running short right now. My fear is that they're probably going to stay running short for at least a year. Basketball is obviously fantastic, great all-time run, easiest team to pull for you could ever imagine last year. This year looks like it's going to be another one. People are already making plans to come to Atlanta. So much hinges on football. So much hinges on this radical, revolutionary musical chairs game that Mark D'Antonio has pulled. I do see up to 10 regular season wins, as we talked about. If that happens, I'm sure dollars will flow after the fact. But I wouldn't expect to see a bunch of dollars in the meantime, Hondo. I think it's a very tough sell right now. This state of Michigan, the Great Mitten State, kind of turning into the show me state relative to football early this fall for Spartan football. People want to see what this is going to be, because this is a wild, crazy move to shuffle all the chairs on your coaching staff and expect a significantly different result. However, it may work, and if it does, we may see other people in the future try this kind of musical chair type stuff that Mark D'Antonio has put on his staff for 2019.
He is Spartan Nation senior writer Johnny Shop. Remember, 5 articles in a row starting the 17th of June. Looking back as we party like it's 1999 at that Spartan 1999 football team. We'll be back. 1999 football team. We'll be back.